November 17th, 2022, a Thursday afternoon in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. School dismissal time comes and goes, but one mother never shows up. Eleni Kassa, a devoted 31-year-old single mother, has vanished without picking up her young daughter, something she would never do. For Eleni's family, this was the first terrifying sign that something was catastrophically wrong.
For her, missing like that is very not normal.
Her brother, who had been her protector since they were children orphaned in Eritrea, knew immediately that his sister was in grave danger.
When I was 6, my mother and my father died, which is Eleni was 3 years old at the time. So I remember holding her hand, my hand, telling her that our mother will come back.
This story is about a desperate 10-day search that would span multiple states, a mysterious third passenger who holds secrets, and a shocking discovery that would rock two communities 500 miles apart. By the time this case was over, 2 women would be gone, and investigators would be left piecing together a puzzle of jealousy, control, and obsession. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Before we get too deep, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in these discussions. Eleni Kassa's journey to America began in heartbreak. Born in Eritrea, she lost both parents when she was just 3 years old. Her older brother, barely 6 himself, became her guardian and protector. The 2 siblings made the difficult journey to America in the early 2000s, seeking the opportunities that so many immigrants pursue. Eleni had made Murfreesboro, Tennessee her home, a city located 34 miles southeast of downtown Nashville. While Murfreesboro offered opportunities, it also came with challenges. Despite those, Eleni was determined to build a good life in America. At 25, she became a mother, and her daughter became the absolute center of her universe. When her relationship with her daughter's father ended, she embraced single motherhood with fierce dedication. At 31, Eleni decided to open her heart to love again. She began dating 36-year-old Dominique Hardwick, who lived in Lebanon, Tennessee, but had strong ties to Pontiac, Michigan. From the beginning, those who knew the couple noticed concerning dynamics. According to people close to them, their relationship was marked by jealousy and possessiveness. But the true severity of these issues wouldn't become apparent until August 27, 2022. That night, police responded to a domestic disturbance at Eleni's apartment at the Arborbrook Apartments complex. According to the official Murfreesboro police report, the incident began with an argument between the couple. The cause? Well, it was reportedly a text message from another woman on Eleni's phone. The police report documented the escalation. It stated, Hardwick stated she pushed Kassa and struck her in the face with her hand. But Eleni's account revealed the true severity of the assault. Dominique grabbed Eleni and pushed her against the wall.
It started out as an argument between Eleni Kassa and Dominique Hardwick. At issue, a text message from another woman. According to the report, Hardwick stated that she pushed Kassa and struck her in the face with her hand. Kassa said Hardwick grabbed her by the neck and pushed her against the wall. The police report states Kassa had difficulty breathing. Emergency responders advised her that she may have a broken jaw.
The injuries were serious enough to require medical attention. Medics confirmed to Eleni that Dominique had broken her jaw during the altercation. This wasn't a minor scuffle. This left lasting damage. Dominique was arrested and charged with 1 count of aggravated domestic assault. After spending 2 days in custody, she posted bond. A Rutherford County judge issued a no-contact order, and police officers escorted Dominique to Eleni's apartment to retrieve her belongings. The mugshot from that arrest, dated 28 August 2022, showed Dominique with an intake time of 4:28 a.m. Notably, the release date was listed as none, indicating she remained in custody initially. For Eleni's family and friends, this arrest should have marked the end of a dangerous relationship. The legal system had intervened, medical evidence existed, and a protective order was in place. But domestic violence cases rarely follow such clean narratives. In the weeks that followed, Eleni tried to focus on rebuilding her life. She had her job, her daughter, and the support of her brother who had always been her protector. The The court order provided legal protection, but as many domestic violence survivors know, pieces of paper cannot always prevent them from finding ways to maintain contact. November 17th began like any other Thursday. Eleni followed her routine: work, responsibilities, the normal rhythm of life as a single mother. Her daughter attended school, expecting her mother to be there at dismissal time as she always was. But when pickup time came, Eleni was nowhere to be found. School officials waited as the building emptied. Other parents picked up their children and drove home. Staff members made phone calls, but Eleni Kassa never arrived to pick up her daughter. For her, missing like that is very not normal, her brother stated.
For her, missing like that is very not normal.
This was a woman whose entire world revolved around her child. Missing school pickup wasn't just unusual, it was impossible under normal circumstances. Her family immediately knew something was terribly wrong. The missing person report was filed the next day, but by then, crucial hours had already passed. When police arrived at Eleni's apartment, they made concerning discoveries.
Hillsborough police are looking for a missing mom after she didn't pick up her daughter from school. This happened on Thursday. Police say the license plate of a car she may be in was ran out of state. WSMV's Marissa Sulek spoke with her family today, who flew across the country to help find her. Eleni Kassa lives here at the Arborbrook Apartments in Murfreesboro. She left
a nightmare that we don't seem to wake up from.
They say it's going to take everyone to bring her home to her daughter.
Her keys were there. Her phone was there. Her personal car was parked outside. Everything that Eleni would need for her daily life, everything she would need to pick up her daughter, was sitting untouched in her apartment. The initial investigation revealed critical information. The missing person investigation revealed a possible domestic violence incident occurred with Eleni and Dominique, following an argument at Eleni's Murfreesboro apartment, police said. Despite the no-contact order that was supposed to protect Eleni, somehow Dominique had gained access to her or convinced her to leave with her. The exact circumstances of how Eleni ended up missing from her apartment became a central question in the investigation. What police did know was that Eleni was likely traveling in a black Dodge Charger registered to Dominique Hardwick. They got the license plate number, and authorities immediately began tracking this vehicle. Automatic license plate readers began picking up hits on the Dodge Charger as it traveled north from Tennessee. For Eleni's family, the next 10 days were an agonizing period of hope, fear, and desperate searching. Her brother, the same man who had held her hand as a 3-year-old and promised their mother would return, now found himself in the heartbreaking position of searching for his sister while trying to comfort his young niece. Social media became a lifeline for the family's search efforts. But while family and friends posted photos, shared information, and pleaded for any leads, Eleni was traveling hundreds of miles away from everyone who loved her, and the situation was far more dire than anyone imagined. The system was tracking the vehicle, but somehow it kept moving, carrying its secrets deeper into the Midwest. What no one knew during those 10 agonizing days was the disturbing reality of Eleni's situation. While her family posted missing person flyers and her brother gave interviews pleading for information, Eleni was already beyond help. But Dominique wasn't traveling alone during this nightmare journey. There was a third person in the car, a 34-year-old woman whose identity and role in these events would become one of the most puzzling aspects of the entire case. Who was this woman? How much did she know? Was she complicit in what had happened to Eleni, or was she another victim caught in Dominique's web of violence and control? These questions would haunt investigators and captivate the public's attention. The Dodge Charger continued its journey north, eventually entering Michigan, Dominique's home state, where she had connections in Pontiac. License plate readers tracked the vehicle through Oakland County, just outside Detroit, bringing the car dangerously close to populated areas. Meanwhile, back in Tennessee, Eleni's absence was creating ripples of concern throughout her community. Her coworkers noticed she wasn't showing up to her job. Her daughter was staying with family members, asking heartbreaking questions about when her mother was coming home. Her brother continued giving interviews, his voice filled with desperation and love. November 27th, 2022, exactly 10 days after Eleni was first reported missing, this case was brought to its violent conclusion on the streets of suburban Detroit. Dearborn police were conducting routine patrols when they spotted the black Dodge Charger that had been the subject of a multi-state search. The license plate immediately triggered alerts in their system. As officers approached the vehicle to conduct what should have been a routine traffic stop, Dominique Hardwick made a decision that would seal her fate. Instead of pulling over, she pressed the accelerator and fled.
Dearborn PD are chasing a missing person in a vehicle.
What followed was a high-speed chase through residential neighborhoods, putting innocent civilians at risk as the Charger raced through streets. The chase was short, but intense. Dominique's desperate flight ended when she lost control of the vehicle, crashing into a house on Tireman and Normill streets in Detroit. The impact was severe enough to damage the car and trap the occupants inside. As officers approached the crash scene to render aid and make arrests, they had no idea what horrors awaited them. They were expecting to find a missing woman and her abductor.
Until yesterday, Dearborn police got an alert from Flock license reader that it was in the area and pulled over the driver.
The driver pulled away. As they pulled away, Dearborn started to pursue them, lost sight of them, terminated their pursuit.
MSP says shortly after, officers found that same car up against this house.
As the car was crashed up against the house, there was a shot fired towards what the police thought was towards them. They returned fire.
That driver died from a gunshot wound, and investigators are tracking down where it came from and more.
Detectives are currently serving search warrants throughout that area. They're doing some evidence processing, things like that.
There was an exchange of gunfire between the officers and the suspect, Dearborn police stated in their official report.
It's a scene that literally shook the community.
I felt my house vibrate.
Now, more than 24 hours later, neighbors like this woman shown here are wondering how in the world a black Dodge Charger tied to a missing persons case in Tennessee ended up crashing into the home next door.
The police was out there telling the people to put their hands up to get out the car and to get out the car and everything, and they wouldn't get out the car.
That's when police say they heard a gunshot and returned fire. The driver, a 36-year-old woman, found dead with a gunshot wound to the head, and a passenger, a 34-year-old woman, injured from the crash, taken into custody. But it's what officers found in the trunk proven to be most disturbing.
They started searching the car and everything, and once they got into the trunk, they found out it was a dead body in the trunk. I just couldn't believe it, that it was happening in my house, in my driveway and everything. It was like a movie or something.
A destroyed home, damaged car, gloves, shattered glass, and a shoe now are left lying at the scene.
The details of this remain unclear. What's certain is that at the end of it, Dominique Hardwick was found dead inside the crashed vehicle. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. The mysterious third passenger, the 34-year-old woman who had traveled hundreds of miles in the car, was injured but alive. She was immediately taken to an area hospital for treatment of her injuries from the crash. When they looked in the trunk, they found Eleni's body, police reported. After 10 days of searching, Eleni Kassa had been found, but instead of a joyful reunion with her daughter and brother, it was a heartbreaking discovery. The discovery sent shockwaves through both the Tennessee community, where Eleni was loved and missed, and the Detroit area, where the violent conclusion had played out on residential streets.
We felt like the house shake because it was so loud.
Somebody that's from another state, and they end up here.
One of several questions we worked to get answers to for residents on both sides of Tireman near Wyoming Avenue, who were surprised to learn just how detailed this tragedy is.
That's very disturbing, because mostly seniors on this block that's still on this block. And and to hear something like that, we're almost scared to come out the door. I really feel sad for the families.
I feel like that just shows you that it doesn't matter where you're located, there's always something dangerous happening, and it can spread anywhere.
Michigan State Police took over the investigation, working with Murfreesboro authorities to piece together exactly what had happened during those 10 missing days. The confirmation of Eleni's identity brought an end to the desperate search, but it also raised countless new questions. How had Dominique managed to violate the no-contact order and get close enough to Eleni to harm her? What had happened in Eleni's apartment that night? What role, if any, had the mysterious third woman played in these events? Police stated that the circumstances surrounding Eleni's death have not been determined. While they had found Eleni's body and identified the person responsible, the exact details of how she died remained under investigation. As news of the discovery spread, the investigation began focusing on crucial questions that would determine whether additional charges might be filed. Police were particularly interested in the role of the mysterious passenger who had survived the crash, the 34-year-old woman who had been in the passenger seat during the final chase and crash. Her testimony would be crucial to understanding the full scope of this tragedy. The investigation revealed disturbing details about the timeline of events. While the exact cause of Eleni's death remained under investigation, authorities confirmed the concerning fact that she did not die as a result of the car crash. This meant Eleni had been dead for some time before the final confrontation in Detroit. But even as the immediate crisis ended, disturbing allegations began emerging that raised serious questions about missed opportunities to prevent this tragedy. Just days after Eleni's body was identified, a Facebook post from Carolyn Sheba Perez began circulating that contained allegations. Perez claimed that Dominique had been responsible for another tragic incident, that of her son, Stephen T. Brown, in March 2021. In her emotional Facebook post, Perez wrote, "This is what hurt my son, Stephen T. Brown, March 2021, and Eleni Kassa, most recently. Blessings and peace to their souls, for they are not here, but forever in our hearts. Salah." On March 27, 2021, my son Stephen T. Brown was shot twice and died at the residence of Dominique Hardwick. He was left for dead at least 4 hours before Dominique and her wife went to Lebanon Police Department to report the shooting. During this ordeal, we were also mourning the loss of my daughter, Ashley Brown, who was gone only 11 months before Stephen. My son was very loving and trying his best to help his family, and deserved to depart from this earth under more honorable circumstances. In the last few days, there have been a heightened effect to our grief, as we also offer the highest condolences to the family of Eleni Kassa. Ms. Kassa was unfortunately hurt by the same person, Dominique Hardwick, very recently. God bless her soul. These were serious allegations that, if true, would suggest multiple missed opportunities to prevent the tragic incident that happened to Eleni. However, these remain unverified claims made by a grieving mother on social media, not confirmed facts from law enforcement. Meanwhile, the focus returned to Eleni's family, who were facing the impossible task of explaining to a young child why her mother would never come home. The brother who had protected Eleni since childhood was now faced with protecting her daughter from the same kind of devastating loss they had experienced as children. In his statements, he recalled, "Since I was 6, she was my responsibility. I feel like I'm feeling her right now. She's a wonderful mother, and she is a wonderful sister, and she's just everybody's favorite person." Those who knew Eleni consistently described her as someone who put her child first in everything she did. The Murfreesboro Police Department released a statement acknowledging that there was a possible domestic violence incident between her and her girlfriend, 36-year-old Dominique Hardwick, in Murfreesboro. Sometime after that, that's when they both ended up in Dearborn, Michigan. As the investigation continued, authorities worked to establish exactly how Dominique had managed to get Eleni away from her apartment and hurt her, all while under a court order to stay away from her victim. For law enforcement in both Tennessee and Michigan, the case represented a complex, multi-jurisdictional investigation that would require careful coordination to ensure all evidence was properly collected and analyzed. A GoFundMe account that had originally been created to help fund the search for Eleni was updated to support her daughter's care. The case raised broader questions about domestic violence prevention and the effectiveness of protective orders, which are only as effective as the enforcement behind them. I hope these stories help you recognize warning signs and encourage you to seek help or offer support before it's too late. I'll see you in the next episode of Crime of Passion. Thank you for watching.